Madame Shu is always 2 steps ahead and also hasn't been given a pirate skin yet? What's up with that? In this video, we're going to be looking at Madame Shu's strengths and weaknesses, go over her kit, and showcase 2 different Madame builds. The initial build everyone must use and my personal preferred build. While I may not be the world's #1 Madame player, this guide should be more than enough for you to hit the ground running. Alright, let's start it up. While classes aren't really a thing in Deceive, Madame is identified as a scoundrel. She fits that role pretty well, as scoundrels usually have high impact expertise and Madame is no exception. A good use of his expertise could win you a fight or potentially even the game. Unlocks in Deceive are locked behind the class mastery system and mastery levels. As you play more with Madame, you will gain mastery points and mastery levels. At levels 2, 6, and 10, you will receive cosmetic rewards. Level 3, the second passive, 4, the second expertise, and at 5, the second weapon, and at 7, the final passive, at 8, the final expertise, and at 9, the final Madame weapon. Once you've completed your 10 mastery levels, you move on to getting Echelons. This is Deceive's long-term progression system, and there's 100 Echelon levels. It's estimated to take somewhere between 400 and 600 gameplay hours to finish 100 Echelons, and you get rewards along the way. Most notably at levels 10, 50, and 100, there's unique costumes. Along with level 30, there's an ink. Along the way, there's other things, including the premium currency bonds. Let's start off by talking about Madame's weapons. I want to first say that I'm going to butcher the names of these, and I apologize for that in advance. But the weapon one is the Echelons, I think. It boasts decent damage, 10 and 13, with a fast fire rate of 5.5 and a big mag of 20, I guess they're bolts in this case, and a decent mid reload speed of 1.9. You don't really want to be reloading in combat, but since you're Madame and with your expertises, you can actually usually get a free reload off in combat if you need it. Damage fall off here is 15 meters, so you have to be a little bit close, and you're losing half of that damage at the 25 meter mark, scaling down past 15. So this is a pretty good weapon overall. I think it's pretty balanced, if a little on the strong side versus the rest of the cast, but as a starting point for Madame, I think it's a really good weapon overall, and you can't go wrong by picking this one. It will of course show up in our initial build, but it's not going to show up in my preferred build because that's the Longshen is going to show up in the preferred build. This is Madame's burst option. Very similar damage per shot numbers here. 10 to the body is the same, but we go up to 15 to the head, and we're shooting 3-round bursts. Now the burst delay, which is the time between each shot of those 3, is a little on the long side, so you're not necessarily going to hit all 3 of these bursts every time, but you're doing really good damage. If you can get 2 or so shots on the head, you went from 20 damage to 30, which is a big deal. The rate of fire here is listed at 9.0, but we know that is actually incorrect. That's a bug with the burst fire weapons and how the rate of fire is calculated on the screen. It's really unknown exactly what it is, but it feels very similar to the weapon 1. Probably I'd put it around 6 shots per second, which is more than enough. Same reload, 1.9, a slightly smaller mag, but honestly you don't really notice because you're losing 2 bolts, but you're shooting 3 at a time. This one's also good in the fact that its fall off starts at the 20 meter mark, and you still are doing 60% of your damage at the 30 meter mark, so you can shoot from further away with this. Personally, I find I'm more accurate with this weapon just because it's a burst weapon rather than a full auto, so I have like time to aim between each burst. And again, if you just land 2 or even 3 headshots, like that's 30 or 45 damage coming out of this gun, and I think this one's really strong, and I'm genuinely surprised this weapon was not nerfed with Season 5. So I think this is one of the best weapons in the game. Someone's in the comments going to disagree, but I'm going to throw it out there. This one's really good, and we're going to see it in the preferred build. All right, this one's the Xuan Wu. I hope I literally googled it before I said it, so I hope I did it justice. This gun has gone through a ton of buffs, actually, historically. It's an increasing fire rate weapon the longer you hold down the button. So it starts off at 3 shots per second, but scales up to 9. you have 35 shots, so as long as you like hold down mouse 1, it starts at 3 but scales up to 9 pretty quick. And you get to throw 35 bolts out. The damage is obviously fairly low to compensate for that scaling fire rate. 7 and 10 are not numbers you want to write home about, and the reload's pretty long at 2.2. You really don't want to be reloading, but also you don't want to be not shooting at all with this gun, because when that fire rate resets, you're basically starting over, or you are starting over. So this weapon was among the worst in the game for a while and has received pretty consistent buffs. And I genuinely think it's like just below the usable tier now. I wouldn't take it in any game I really wanted to win, especially in solos where if someone like ducks behind some cover, you kind of have to stop firing. And it's not your fire rate scales up as your mag empties, it's the longer you hold the button down. So if you waste half a mag and then you have to start again, it feels really bad. In duos and trios, not that I'm well experienced in it, I think you can do a little better with this weapon because you can start aiming at person A and switch targets to person B if you can no longer hit person A. And it feels like you're maybe not giving up as much there. But again, duos and trios is not my area of specialty. Damage fall off here is pretty much what you'd expect. 15 meters before you start losing damage, down to half damage at 25 meters. I don't use this unless I'm just trying to have a fun round, and man, it can be fun, but I wouldn't take it if my sole goal was to win a game. Being a scoundrel, the expertise on Madam are pretty important to understand and to use effectively, so let's get into it. She has 3 basically teleport variations. The first one's the most obvious. You enter a stance, meaning you basically hold your fingers up as you see in the video, and if whoever you highlight green, you become them. You leave whatever disguise you were behind, and you basically just take over this person. This is a really powerful ability. You can go pretty far. I don't have exact numbers, but I want to say it's about 30 meters, which is decently far with this. You can get pretty far. And it's on a fairly longish cooldown of 60 seconds, but with taking a very high field upgrade chip, which I do recommend, and the base build even comes with a purple, I would even go so far as to put it on gold, but we'll talk about that later. You can get that down to like 30 seconds, so it's up basically every fight. Maybe even twice a fight if you're being really good at it. So this one's really strong just because there's not a lot of feedback on where you went. Obviously it is the direction you're looking, but it's rather like imprecise. So if someone's shooting at you and you just disappear on them or leave your cover behind is what happens. Then you could be any number of NPCs you were looking at. Not to mention, it's not really any way possible to tell if you're using this expertise versus either of the other expertise. So even if they assumed you were using this one in the first place and they didn't know which one you went to, you could have been using the other ones which have different teleport effects. So this leaves that clone behind. Clones are a big thing, and there's a lot of like clone stuff you can kind of do. And I think we'll try to show some of it in our gameplay, but I'm just gonna like list a couple things. There's VIP cloning by taking a VIP disguise and then snapping into someone else, leaving that VIP behind, and then taking that VIP disguise that you just left behind. You've essentially created 2 or more VIPs. There's the flip side of that, VIP deletion, where you snap into a VIP and then change disguise. No more VIP. This is useful sometimes if you're not planning to do the retinal scanner. It prevents anyone else from doing the retinal scanner. VIPs currently don't show back up if Madam deletes them. And there's some other little tricks you can do where clones try to do what you were doing when you teleported a bit. So if you were like crouch walking, you can make some Doug's crouch walk around for a little while until the NPC CPU brains take back over. So there's some funny stuff. You can also snap into another agent, which will blow both of your covers, which sounds like a bad thing, but sometimes you just need to close the gap on someone, and this is a way to get right behind them. One nice thing with this is you do appear right behind them. So obviously you're within all of your good weapon ranges. They are as well because you're close range. And you did have to invest your expertise, but you're there and you could, like, they may not expect you. It could be very good, and it's definitely a move to make. now it's time to move on to expertise 2. That was a pretty long explanation of expertise 1, and expertise 2 might be more complex. This one, you just set a target. This one's Serpent's Bluff, and they call it a callback, but I like to call it the snapback ability, because what you do is you mark someone, and then when you hit the button again, you teleport to them. So how we talked about with expertise 1, you could be any number of NPCs you were looking at. This one, you could be any NPC you were near in the last 12 seconds. You basically mark someone, and then for 12 seconds, if you hit the button again, you teleport to them. This ability is kind of insane, because we also talked about how it doesn't, you don't know which of these expertise you're using, or the opponent can't tell. So expertise 1 is anyone in front of you. This one's basically anyone behind you, but also like 4 rooms away, because it lasts for 12 seconds. So that's what makes Madam one of like the best agents, is this ability to functionally disappear, and you could have gone forward or back, and even if they knew if you went forward or back, who you went forward or back to is another thing they have to figure out while they're out of cover, and suddenly you're back in cover, which means all the guards who were crowding around this fight only have one target to look at now. And both of these abilities, and even the third one, just kind of give you huge advantages like that. Same thing, if you mark an in-cover agent, you can just, the same snap thing you can do. The downside of this, the cooldown's actually the same, 60 seconds. So you only have 12 seconds to snap, and if you don't use it in those 12 seconds, it goes on a 30-second cooldown. It goes on half cooldown. So there's a bit of a downside where if you set it and you don't use it, you have this window where you can't use it. But that window is kind of small, and you can just kind of play around it. Again, with high chips, you can lower these cooldowns by like half, down to like 15 and 30. So it's not really that big a deal. I'm trying to think if there's really anything else special with this one. You can still do the same cloning, deletion, and clone tricks with this. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder, depends on what you're trying to do. And we'll see more of this one in the preferred build. Finally, the Python's Ruse. This one is functionally just her expertise 1, except you can use it 3 times and go a third of the distance. So we said expertise 1 was approximately 30 meters. Again, I believe I don't have that number measured exactly. So this one would be 10 meters, but you can use it 2 more times. So for this one, if you really want to clone VIPs, you can do really funny stuff with by using this 3 times and switching your disguise in between. You get a little bit of time to shift, about 2-ish seconds or so. You have to use it again before it goes on full cooldown, and you lose the rest of your snaps. But yeah, this one's just expertise 1, but you can use it 3 times, and you can definitely bamboozle people that way as well. Not much more to say about these. We already talked a lot about all of them. So yeah, these make Madam really, really strong. And finally, if you thought I said the weapons were really strong and the expertises were strong, wait till we hear about Madam's passives. Let's go over these. Viper's Knowledge is a pretty simple one. When someone breaks the cover, you get a little notifier. We can see that in the video there. When anyone breaks the cover within 50 meters of you, there's the number, I found it. So this is a sphere around you. It works vertically, up, down, left, right. So anyone within 50 meters of you, cover breaks, you get a notification. This is really good because 50 meters isn't that far, so all the intel is actionable. And if a fight starts, you see 2 of these pop-ups, and you can go and third-party that fight because you know it happened. Now, 50 meters isn't necessarily further than you can hear in this game. Sometimes you will just hear a fight, and you can potentially hear a fight and not have this go off just because you can hear pretty far in this game. But this gives you a pretty good pop-up where you can just say this is where a fight or something is happening, and then you get the option of, do I want to go investigate and like potentially third party or hunt someone down who might have heat, and it just puts a lot of power in your hands. I really like this one. It won't be in our preferred build, but as we've kind of talked about, her initial 1-1 and 1 build that we'll see in the initial showcase is really strong. This ability is really good. Putting a note here, it just pops up with the cover breaks. It doesn't follow them, but that's more than enough. If you're within 50 meters and you see this and you want to go investigate, chances are by the time you get in a decent range, you'll have found them unless they're running some high cover chip or just got out of the area. There's no notification on their end that this even happened. So they don't know that you might be coming or not. There's no notification that this passive affected them, just that they were out of cover. All right, moving on to a passive 2. This one is my least favorite, but some people swear by it. Also, the video's a little outdated. So take it with a grain of salt here. You can see Squire Bot there glowing green. That no longer happens. It's a normal trace effect, which causes them to glow red, and you can view them through walls. But basically, the line to know is 40%. So if you're out of cover and at low health being less than 40%, Madam can trace you. Now, the trace is really short range. You have to be within like 35 meters, which is not that far. We talked about 50 meters. You could hear further than that. 35 is pretty short. Some guns have fall-off ranges longer than that. But this works even through walls. So if you're in a fight, this can give you some advantages because you now know when someone's health is below 40%, which means you can then judge, do I need to change, like, do I need to run or can I finish the fight? Do I need to use my expertise here? Gives you knowledge mid-fight. And also, if they run away from you, as long as you stay within 35 meters, you have a trace on them, which makes it really hard to get away from you if they wanted to. Plus, you have your expertise, which 2 of them allow you to teleport forward at least 10 meters or 30 in circumstances. So you can catch up pretty easily, I'll say. This one's also just kind of strong. It's just not for me because one of the major uses, I think, is to know should I be in this fight or not. And I'm decent at hearing the audio cue for that, so I can judge by that. But obviously this prevents people from running away from you if they're already below 40%. So it's really good. It's just not for me. All right. Finally, Mamba's Hunch, the passive 3. This is probably one of the most talked about and probably most hated abilities in the whole game. I don't know if it's hated so much anymore. It's just people agree it's very powerful. But pretty much, Madam snapshots you. And snapshot is the same effect you see in the hack trap, but it's basically this little blink we see in the video of these green outlines of what spy you are. Not what cover you are, but what spy you are. And this goes off at set points during the game. So every time a vault terminal is deactivated, every time you're told a vault terminal is deactivated, so when a vault terminal goes off, there's 15 seconds before everyone's told about it. So if Madam didn't do that vault terminal, she gets this ping, these snapshots on everyone in the entire game. There's no range, it's global, when you are notified of that. And the rivals do get this little pop-up that says Madam knows your location, so it does alert them. Not that there's a ton they can do about it, because Madam knows your location. But there's also a flip side. With Madam does the terminal herself, it goes off when she finishes the terminal. So that pop-up currently still pops up, which I believe is a bug. I think the pop-up's supposed to pop up later if Madam herself does the terminal, because it gives away a little information, but we're not here to really talk about that. So there's 3 vault terminals, then phase progression, which is between phase 1 and 2 when the vault opens, between phases 2 and 3 when the briefcase is stolen for the first time, and then finally every time the car is called. So the car call, if you call it to A, there's 1 ping, switch to B, switch to C, there's 2 more pings. I think that's the maximum number of pings. I don't think I missed any there. But pretty much every time in those set spots during the game, Madam and her whole team, if you're playing teams, will get this ping. I think that's really it. Oh, there's a 2-second timer. Right, I forgot. This is a really not important thing. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't affect much. But Madam actually sees where you were 2 seconds ago, not where you are right now. So when you see Madam is looking at you in your debuffs notification, it's where you were 2 seconds ago. But 2 seconds isn't a lot of time to move, and since you didn't know it was happening until they told you, there's not anything you can do about it. So if Madam's next to you, and you see a Madam has seen you, and you've been in this walking in a straight line for the last 2 seconds, you're pretty obvious who you were. The 2 seconds doesn't matter, but it's important to call out that it exists because I just see it's not in the tooltip here. So this is considered to be one of the strongest abilities in the entire game, which I might have also said about one of Madam's weapons and one of Madam's expertises. So you can kind of see my thoughts on Madam in general there. She's just one of the strongest characters. So we will be seeing this in the preferred build, and that is the whole Madam kit. It is incredibly powerful when put together, and we'll see some gameplay in a little bit. While gadgets aren't really character specific, we'll talk about a couple that might synergize with Madam. I'm gonna call it the drone initially, and potentially the DI for a similar reason. When you get that passive 3 ping on someone, if you can have a drone nearby, you can put a trace on that. So you're turning that short ping of a passive 3 or a snapshot into a trace, which is pretty powerful because traces are a lot easier to manage and follow. Similarly, the DI can functionally put you in, like, get you 3 different camera angles. So there's where you're looking plus 2 cameras for that ping on the passive 3. So that can be beneficial as well. I don't see very many other specific combos with Madam. You know, there's things like goo pods where if you find someone, you can throw goo at them and then the fight's way easier for you. But that kind of applies to every agent. So I don't think there's a ton of other Madam specific stuff. And I don't know if she needs a ton of stuff just due to the way all of her kit works together so nicely. So those are some ideas, but honestly, I don't even see them taken too often on Madam. For field upgrades, we'll be taking the base, which is decent for Madam. I would bump the expertise cooldown up to gold. This is 35%. At the gold level, this is plus 50%, which most of her cooldowns are 60 seconds. So the difference between 35% cooldown and 50 cooldown is kind of sizable. And since you do have that snap and stuff, getting gold, I don't want to say is easy, but getting through gold and blue and purple rooms is kind of easy on Madam due to the snap abilities, all of them. We'll be showing up in solos, so I do like the color. I personally don't like extended ammo pouch in solos. It's a lot better in teams modes where you have to spread the ammo amongst a team, but in solos I find there's more than enough ammo for one person team. I usually call it cover accelerator, but I'm not sure it's that important on Madam due to the snap ability. So this is one I think you might even be able to give up on Madam, although high cover accelerator is basically always useful. I think that's about it for specific callouts here. We always call it the exfiltration scanner as being bad because I don't want to see anyone taking it, so please don't do that. Other than that, this build works pretty well. And just before we get into our build showcases, let's go over the builds. The 111 is obviously the Zhulong, the Cobra's Deceit, and the Viper's Knowledge. And the preferred build will be using the Longshan, the Serpent's Bluff, and the Mamba's Hunch we talked about. Now let's get into the showcase. I'll see you right in the games. Okay, Fragrant Show at night for our initial build showcase here. Let's get to it. One thing I really want to show off in one of these two showcases is the knocking ability or knocking strategy. It's not an ability, it's a strategy. I don't want to call it an ability and someone be like, what's that? It's a strategy a player does, not an ability an NPC does. There we go. I've talked about this too much. We need a bunch of intel. All right. Let's do a knock. I think we did one of these on Larson, if I remember right. Larson and Madam do it best, and then Red can also do it fairly effectively. This is wasting one intel. But basically, it's called the knock because you melee the door. And then someone comes and opens it because the guards get mad you broke your cover. But apparently there's no guards in here. Okay, Doug, I see how it is. And then for Madam, you just snap into whoever opens the door. So that's why it's called the knock, because you melee the door. You don't actually have to melee the door. It's just, you just have to break your cover, and melee is the easiest way. Melee does have a bit of a downside in that it's quieter. I'm doing air quotes, you can't see them. Then shooting. So sometimes if a guard's deep in the room, I don't know why that Doug wasn't aggroed to us, I'm not gonna lie. But sometimes if a guard's pretty deep into the room, then the melee won't actually cause them to aggro you, and they won't open the door. So sometimes you should shoot the door. I shouldn't say should, but sometimes shooting the door is the better option, just because it will attract guards from further away, but it also might attract players from further away. That's the downside with the knock, is it does blow you cover, which means if anyone's around, you get you give up that cover, and you could get headshot easier. That's why I like to do it as like the first thing I get to, if it's if I'm getting there pretty quick. But as the game goes on, like anytime after those first little bit, I don't try it, because if someone else is around and sees you doing it, then you just kind of get screwed. There we go. Just look around. We skipped a green door this way. Saved ourselves 3 intel, and we didn't have to look sus jumping off the balcony or something. Not that that's a big deal.
A worthy investment.
But the snap there did give us the ability to do that. So we do have our purple expertise cooldown here. We have fallen ammo as well.
Really? That's
So
all?
that snap will come back fairly quick. And I know I said this already. There's a VIP around this corner. No? Yeah, she's just far. Both those guards looked really sus there, and that's probably why. I'm not worried I'm in the wrong outfit, because this is gone and they went out the secret exit.
Next time, try to do it yourself.
I don't want to chase them at the secret exit. I do want to get out of here, and I do want to go out the way I came in, because that's the one we cleared the hack trap on. We'd rather not hit another hack trap if we didn't have to. That's them, though. We just let them take some guard aggro in there for a minute while we run around to the other side. Oof, all right. We can even get a heal off here. Bounce pad to throw them off, and a melee to finish.
More access.
Let's go revive our guard buddies. Yeah, throwing out a little bounce pad there. We probably didn't need it in that fight specifically, but it does, throw someone's aim off sometimes. I think it's useful, but that's debatable. There we go. We do need a gray, so I think we're gonna make this. This safe is, I hope people can probably tell, but this safe's super risky, so I'm gonna make this move. Except that was a player. Oh boy. Okay, we landed some good headshots there at the end. So that was luck that we hit a player, obviously, not that I won the fight. That was definitely all skill, and I wasn't trying to bounce pad when it was off on cooldown. So that's what it looks like if you snap into a player. That's not really something I could have predicted would happen. Can we sit on this? Oh, we can. I thought it would be under the table too much. So yeah, that was good to show off. So it's gonna be a pretty good game to showcase, even if we get like someone comes around the corner and wrecks us right now somehow. We haven't seen the passive go off though, which I think on this map it's not great for. Oh, there's 2 VIPs. Just because of the way the map works. If you're on like Diamond Spire, this passive works great. Silver Reef as well. Just because it's also vertical. Diamond Spire, is a pretty vertical map. It has a lot more verticality than other maps. It can be really good because it works. I find it works in more directions. But this one's very flat and long, which is great. But for this passive, not as good. So we can kind of see the pop-ups because we still saw them when I was fighting people. But oh, we do need an outfit.
We are 2.
That's as a player here. We should be able to reach over here, yeah. I need to actually hit shots. There we go.
I'll take good care of it.
All right. Once I actually managed to hit the shots, we were good. The bounce pad play was really good. I should probably have gone to pick it up rather than break it. I guess I haven't really said how to do that. I think it's something I tell you in the tutorial and it's in controls and stuff. But in case no one knows, if you have a gadget, any gadget that's deployable out and you hold whatever your reload button is, it will break it remotely. So that starts its cooldown. Obviously, picking it up doesn't start its cooldown, which is good. Don't get the 8. I want the 3. There we go. So that's always nice, but good to know, good to shout out specifically that that can happen. All right.
Open door policy.
Yeah, I don't think we could show off Madam better. All right, light was green. I do like to call it the light. Green light means go, obviously, but that means no one else is in here. If you see a red light, that means someone is in here. And if there's a yellow light, I believe that means the briefcase is taken, which you should probably already know, but there is a different color for that. All right, scan and see nobody, so I'm not too worried. We're just gonna go this way. Doesn't really matter because we can't really have much of a plan until we see someone. So our plan is kind of just leave right now. And we'll scan again. Oh, someone above us. Did we miss him the first time? Not sure who that is, but one thing we might be able to get away with here, because we do have high hack speed, which allows us this. Can I... Hang on. We're going to invest this in this. Okay, we didn't quite leave him in as much dust as I thought we would. I thought we'd get a bit further away than that. Although they're still down a floor on us. I think if we went out to B, which is the closest one, we have a decent shot at this. Break the bounce pad again. Should have done that earlier. Make sure we're changing disguise. And one thing to think about is to change disguise on someone who's moving. Because if someone's standing still, they leave that dot, that holocron under them. So if, you know, if you're hunting someone, you see a holocron under someone, that probably is who they change disguise into. I don't think we're gonna quite make it, unfortunately. It's a Larson. I'm gonna look this way and just hold one key here so we look really good. Now we're behind them. So the goal was to get them to poof. Now we can use the car here and we can start this. And now we're fighting from a position of strength there. I don't have to go get the spy pack, but I'm going to. There we go. So we needed them to poof there, so then they didn't have it, and then we had to force them to continue the fight by being on the point at the end, because if they didn't come and fight us, we would win the game. So trying to create that no-win situation, we got those initial few shots which put them on the back foot, and then they had to poof. They didn't necessarily have to, but they did. And then once they poof, we get on the point, which forces them to come to the point without getting that health back or being able to, like, they don't have time to do anything. Now we're going to do our preferred build showcase. That was a really good showcase of the initial build, except the passive didn't really go off in our favor, but we showed off everything else very nicely. I'm pretty happy with that. So I will see you in the preferred build in one moment. Now we got hard sell in the morning for our preferred build here. Pretty good. We get to show off the 2 new map variants in this. We put on our gold outfit again to show off a little bit. And we're going to start by talking about something I don't really talk about too much in these guides, because it doesn't really happen in any of my videos, let alone these guides. We don't really show the, like, starting screen when everyone's in the lobby and that little, like, where everyone's doing their intro pose. But in this one, we're going to talk about just a little bit. There was 2 Hans in this lobby, and Hans is, I don't want to say the biggest counter, but maybe the most unnoticeable counter to Madam, just because he has a shotgun, so most of your guns are fairly short range. I'm gonna mark you and then grab this because I'm nervous, but as we can see, we have 12 seconds to snap back to that guy. There's a key card in here. Okay, well, you didn't remember giving me permission from really far away. There we go. Oh my goodness, there's a bunch of people in here. This was a... Doug? Okay, Doug's immortal. Get our cover back in here. Oh, we didn't quite make it through. That would have been awesome. And we didn't make it. All right. Now we have to bail on this plane because there was Immortal Douglas. We have a lot of heat and some other stuff. I'm going to put this on this guy just in case anything goes poorly. Okay. We did get a blue key card out of that whole mess, so that's not awful. But yeah, that was pretty bad. I'm not sure why the Doug was like Matrix dodging our shots, but he was. And I could have played it better, but just goes to show you no one's perfect. Let's carry on. So anyway, I was talking about the Hans in the lobby a little bit, and it's just gonna affect like engage range we take. Like we're probably not gonna be snapping into any unknown targets in this game, just because if it's a Hans, we probably lose. Hans has a shotgun, so already that's kind of bad for us if we're engaging it. If we're snapping into someone as our engage, I need to heal, but I'm kind of greedy, and there's free health on the ground here. So I'm just gonna take it.
I'll take good care of it.
I don't know what happened there, but that spy cache is worth 25 HP, and this health vial is another 20. So there we go. That was a bit odd. One of the reasons I kind of stopped there was because that person behind us was acting a bit odd. One of them was a player, I just had to guess. Oh, that's a player, but this is also a player in here. She can't open that door, and my passive just ran out. I think we go out the other side. There's a secret exit that leads back here. Oof, alright, had to invest a flick in it, but we got it. Now, I don't want to stand right over the body and heal, but we do want to heal nearby. Normally I just heal there, but we saw that other clear player that I couldn't fight because of because there was already a player, so we couldn't start a three-way fight there because I had no way of knowing I would win that. So unfortunate that other player kind of gets away, we'll say, but it's fine. So we did get blues and stuff, or not blues, purples. Now we'll get our blue. Trying to walk like a good guard, but failing at it a little bit. Hello. Let's mark Doug because I'm pretty sure he's fine. Not a great mark if that Hat Amber was in fact a player. Marking Doug probably wasn't going to save us there. I'm going to head over to D because it's the other one you can access from the bottom floor. I didn't really get to stick my head in. Whoops. That was my mouse smacking my keyboard, and now it might get us killed. So we're changing plan, and we're going to go up here. Gives me a way to show off this escape. And in the window we go. Moved my mouse funny, and it hit the side of my keyboard and hit mouse 1.
This is a joke.
But maybe this just is a really complex way of showing the strength of Madam, because we can't play worse than this. We can social and do this at the same time. Probably not really worth it in this instance. We weren't resting that much HP, like 5. And this means we're hard focused on this thing instead of a door. So we're listening for the door, but... Oh, okay. So someone's near A, and someone's kind of near us, and there's only 3 people alive. So that's the amount of info we can get. If there's someone to snap to, I would like that. I'm not sure. So we did see someone relatively near us. That looked a little weird. Alright, our snapback is over now. So we did see... So that's the first terminal, is the one we did. And we did see people near A. Or one person near A. We're not going to go over to A hunting. It was a Hans. But I think we can just kind of run C, D, E pretty quick. With all of our keycards. And That should do us fairly well. So that was the first ping of the game of the Madam Passive 3. Oop.
Not sure we like it. A vault terminal was deactivated.
Okay, 2 there, 1 by D. That must be that one. And then this is the last one. So one thing to do is I'm going to wait a second. So Madam Passive does have a cooldown of about 15-ish seconds. So if I did this immediately, we might not get that third ping going off. But we did see 2 people near A. So when this goes off, they'll probably go... Oh, I think I did it too early. I should have been counting a little better. But we can expect people to be coming this way because we saw 2 people near-ish A. So when this thing goes right now, they'll probably head to this door because it'll be closest. Although, I may be wrong. I'm very wrong. Okay, we see 1 person kind of heading to this door and 2 people heading not at all to this door. So we'll keep an eye behind us. But we don't have to worry too much. We have to be aware if someone comes rushing in behind us. So I keep turning around kind of expecting them, but yeah. 2 people on the other side. I don't really want that printer, although not grabbing the first printer I see can lead to some issues. They were on the far side, the other 2, so we might cut this way. See if we can't intersect. Check that way, no. Oop, someone's printing. Okay, printer down there. Oh, they would have grabbed. I thought I had another second. I was gonna put this on and then jump down on them. Oop. Oh boy, okay. Helps if you don't miss. Reload in the air. Okay. Screw it up pretty bad, but come away with 5 HP. That seems to be the way of this one. I'm gonna not use this because there was someone looking at me weird. And like that could have been nothing, but with 5 HP, we gotta play it extra safe. Because we're dead to a stiff breeze here. There we go.
Much better. We were
This is another one of those instances where I would like them and don't. We'll just run up. So yeah, we got everything, but we are a little, I don't want to say behind because we only heard 1 printer and it was that one, but that does not mean that was the only one. There's probably 2 we didn't even find. And we'll see if we can do an interesting snap with this. So before I go in, if I put this here, I don't think I have enough time. Oh, we have gold hack speed. Oh no, hack speed doesn't affect this, right? Hack speed doesn't affect this anymore, I should say. It used to. So yeah, there's no time. I just wanted to confirm. But this is something that like seems really smart. You put the snap on someone and then you hack this and then you snap away and you get away. You get a bunch of distance for free essentially. Oh, there's someone way out there too. Okay. We'll just fall down because we saw someone way over by B. For all we know, they could be AFK. And the only other person we saw was that person. I don't want to give chase, but I saw this intel and got distracted. So we probably head out towards A, actually. We do know we're fighting 2 people. Provided I didn't miss anybody, which is possible.
Easy now.
I'm gonna grab this in case we need it. Okay. Put a mark here. Sprint forward for about 12 seconds, and if we need to, we'll bounce back.
Rival agent detection mode started.
I'm just seeing the 1 Hans, which I don't think is the person we saw moving. The Hans was the other person. I do want to change disguises here.
Is that what passes for fashion these days?
We want to call that so we can use it, but we don't want to actually be there right now. Yeah.
Extraction
So what I want to try to do here is start a fight between these two. So we called the extract.
depleting rapidly.
Yeah, there we go. We don't let the Hans heal. I think they did get 30 off there, but it didn't matter. So normally I have to try a little harder to start a fight, but the Hans saw the Lausen sprinting over and started the fight on their behalf. So it happens. I do recommend if you, I don't want to say if you don't know the baggage carriers, don't shoot, because obviously you have to take some guesses in this game. Let's be real. But if you definitely know someone is not the package carrier, and in your phase 3, I think it's generally best not to start that fight, because if the package carrier is nearby or can get nearby, then you're giving them a free third party like we just saw. So once, you know, Hans had to fight a whole Lausen and then us, there's very little chance of the Hans winning that in that situation. All right, we'll do a final thoughts on the menu here. Madam's really strong. I think we saw that. Well, these showcases usually take me a couple attempts. This was literally back-to-back 1-2 done. These weapons are really good. Her expertises are really good. And her passives all give you a lot of info. So as long as you can figure out how to use that info, and I think I tried to talk about that effectively, I think she's potentially the strongest agent in the game right now. So I hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope it was useful. If it was, please subscribe. That really helps me make more of these. If there's something we missed or something that could be useful in future guides, please put that in the comments so we can make the rest of the guides better. And we usually do deceiving gameplay commentary here, not so much guides, so that's what I've been doing recently. So if that's something that's interesting to you, I will see you in the next one.